Oh my god, they really did it! I don't believe it! Hey there, this is your Matt Doodle with Too Much Time on His Hands. Doodle here with another video. And today, I like to talk about the Ultimate Spider-Man issue 4. And this issue is actually pretty chill, to be honest. It doesn't necessarily have everything that I kind of expected. And I should say, already, it has spoilers for the comic, just for everyone who hasn't read it yet. Please go read it. It is one of the best comics I've read so far. And of course, it feels like Spider-Man's back in a completely new way. And for those of you who stick around because you have read it or do not care about spoilers, well, hello. I love what they're doing, even with the fact that it doesn't have a lot of action right now. This issue specifically doesn't have any action. It is strictly just talking. And it's good because it does world building for this version of Spider-Man, with things being completely different. Because yes, we know that, of course, Uncle Ben's alive, Aunt May's dead, Peter didn't get his powers until he was older, he has kids, he's married with MJ, but what happened before that? That's the thing that I was kind of wondering. What exactly happened? And this issue actually kind of reveals that. Not all of it, because, we're still only in issue 4, but it still has a good ground of world building. First of all, let me just say something. Peter and MJ in this comic is like one of the cutest couples ever. They actually treat him like a healthy, married couple, and it does it so well, especially when they introduce them. They look so nice. Of course, MJ is gonna be, extremely good looking. She literally was said in this comic to be an actual model, which is cool. We actually get that reveal. And, of course, Peter, with that glorious beard of his, just, chef kiss in that suit. And turns out they're having lunch with Harry Osborn, which is actually kind of nice because in the other comic, the last one, it revealed that Peter and Harry technically know each other's identity now. So the fact that they're talking and actually having lunch now, it's pretty interesting. And what's more interesting, what they introduced here was the fact that they actually introduced Gwen Stacy in here. That was wild to me because, of course, we had MJ, so I wasn't sure if they were going to introduce Gwen at all. And the fact that she's actually married to Harry as well, I'm like, dang, they really flipped it on her head because we got Uncle Ben being alive, Aunt May being dead, we got Peter having kids, we got Peter being married, and now we got the flip side of what happened in the original comics. Because yes, here Harry is married to Gwen, Peter's married to MJ, which is kind of a reverse of what happened in the original comics. Because in the original comics of 616, Peter originally, of course, was dating Gwen Stacy, and they were so much in love. And Harry and MJ were in a relationship as well, for those of you who did not know. So maybe this is like showing that change that we haven't seen here, because they clearly show that they do not know each other, with Gwen and Peter just talking like complete strangers. And it shows the love that like MJ and Peter have by not showing that they're threatened by her at all. And like, it's kind of funny because they show that for Harry, he's kind of looking threatening, especially by the imagery they keep showing us in the comic. Like, they do shading, and I thought it was kind of weird because they made them look very ominous. And it actually does like reveal that like MJ, she's doing this work. I'm not sure, but I know she works with like damage control. I'm not sure. When I read it, I was more confused than anything, and it was really weird. But them talking, it was kind of fun. Like, they're friends, but it also, there was some tension in the comic itself. And like, it's interesting because also Harry actually told his wife, Gwen Stacy, was still wild, who he was, that he was the Green Goblin, which is like, oh my god, that's awesome. Like, that idea that you kind of need to tell your family what you're doing, and the fact that they don't tell you, they're like extremely trustworthy, is super cool, with the contrast of Peter trying so hard to keep his identity a secret from MJ, his son, and his uncle. Well, like, and he explains it really well. Like, of course, we're gonna think that, of course, tell your loved ones who you are. But Peter says it like, I want to keep them safe from what they're doing. Because like, he even points out that because Harry told Gwen who he is, she's gonna be more in danger. And funny thing with Harry is he basically throws it back at him. It's like, she, like, Mary Jane is your wife. You should know about that. And it's so interesting to have this, parallels between these characters. And you know what's wild? Is the fact that Harry is the one that gave Peter the line of "with great power comes great responsibility" instead of Uncle Ben here. And of course, we have that little side plot of Jameson and Ben with their bromance. It's adorable and funny at the same time. And since Jameson and Ben decided to quit the Bugle, they decided to do it online now, which is funny, with an ironic name of The Paper. But it also shows that the kids do not necessarily like Jameson, which I wouldn't blame them. What kid would find Jameson that cool? Like, he's loud and mean in a lot of cases, so that makes sense. And I also like the little characterization of May, because she's a little girl, she's scared, but she's also very outspoken. And I like how Richard is more reserved, but very still outspoken in a way of like being very truthful about it, very blunt about things, which is really cool. And you can kind of tell where the personality comes from, which I feel like from like a good mix of MJ and Peter, which is nice. And even like Ben shows his understanding of like why the kids would not find Jameson, nice. It's interesting. But it's nice that they like show that also Richard is really smart and very responsible, for the lack of a better term. And I like to see Ben being the beacon of hope to the kids instead of Peter. Speaking of Peter, their conversation with like the Osborns was really nice, really fascinating. And it is super cool. Again, this issue does not have a lot of fighting. Actually has no fighting again. And it still draws you in on everything that's happening. Again, with the world building, it does it so nice, because people may say it's a lot of exposition, but technically no, because it's just people talking to each other now. Like, if you're having a dinner with like a double date, you're going to talk to each other about, life and everything that's going on. And even, when I said that that Harry and Gwen looked very threatening in this issue, well, Peter and MJ kind of noticed that too, that they're scared too. And one thing I love so much, because they also talked about their thoughts on Spider-Man. And Gwen has a very interesting idea of how that happened, which kind of reminds me of the comic of not necessarily liking him that much. But what I like about it is the fact that Peter wants to know what MJ thinks about Spider-Man, because, he's technically a superhero. And one of the sweetest thing that I love about this comic is how she keeps showing that she loves him so much by saying, "Why do I need a superhero when I have you?" And that almost made me cry. I'm like, oh my god, this is the love between MJ and Peter that we deserve so much. Not in the comic. If you think that Peter and MJ do not belong together, please go read this comic. This comic like proves that completely wrong. But they still act like the characters they are, but of course tweaked a little bit to the surroundings they have. Peter's a little more, reserved and a little not understanding how to use his powers, mainly because, he's new. And everyone, and MJ is basically the same party type girl, but a little more reserved in the sense that she's, matured. She said she was a model, but now she's working with damage control. I probably need to reread that part of what her job was. But this comic was so good, and it keeps making me excited. Probably gonna make me really sad that I'm gonna have to wait a little long time for the next issue to come out. But you know what? I'm fine with that, because I've started to get comfortable with the timing of what the comic's gonna come out. I just hope there's no delays, but I do understand that they need to like have like the script and the art to be good. So I understand that. I just know that I will buy it when it's all in volume form. So I know this video is a little shorter than my normal ones on this version of Spider-Man, but it's mainly because there wasn't that much to talk about, and besides just them talking to each other. Like, there wasn't any action, there wasn't any besides the big reveal that Gwen was Harry's wife, and her own character in this comic, and knowing that Peter and her never met is the interesting thing. So besides that, there wasn't really too much. Yeah, there was a little bit of reveals of their identity and who they of the type of people they are, but that's about it. Again, I do love the fact that Peter and MJ are so unloved. It's great. That's all I have for this video. If you liked it, please let me know in the comments down below. If you want to keep seeing more, please like it, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can actually see when these videos actually come out, just like the comics. If there's nothing else, I hope everyone stays nerdy, and this has been Dudamite, and I hope to see everyone in the next video.